Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman. I am here today to do some ghost stories with you. So I get asked lots of questions about ghosts, and so I'm going to go over some of the ones that I normally get. But if you have some questions that you want to ask me in general about ghosts, I am not going to be connecting with anybody's ghost. I will be doing a session later on where I've already talked to a few ghosts, and they said that they would come through and give us a couple of ghost stories. So I've already got that lined up. But if you have any generalized ghost questions of like how can you connect to them or how can um, you communicate with ghosts or something like that, just let me know. I am going to start with um, I define a ghost as a person who was living, who has now passed away. This is different from, I'm saying, like some people use the word spirit. It doesn't matter. It's a kind of the same thing. Just to let you know that ghosts are someone who was living, who has memories, or even if it's a child that passes shortly after birth, they're going to end up what I would consider being called a ghost. Um, there are people that will come to me sometimes and they're not necessarily passed away. So it's one of those, there's a lot of ghosts that are in comas, medically induced comas, or in comas in general, that I can also communicate with. It doesn't mean I can, it just means that there's a possibility there. So sometimes they don't even know if they've passed away. I've had that many times, and I've had that with one of my ghosts that's kind of in the house now. I'll ask him if he's passed away yet, and he won't know. He doesn't answer. So it's one of those. Um, let's see. I always get this one is how long after someone's passed can you communicate with a ghost? And I used to always tell people at least wait a year because it also helps with your, I'm saying, like your process to uh, communicate with them. It gives you a process of being able to mourn their loss and that sort of thing. So it kind of helps in that perspective. So if you have had someone who's passed away, I used to say always a year. I will tell you, and I'm going to talk to a couple of them, that I have had people that I've known or people that have had a great um, deal of they understand the other side or they want to communicate that way or they will come across that way that they want to give you a message right away, not just a family member. Usually ghosts do come back to family members and let them know that, like, hey, I've gotten to the other side and I'm okay, I'm with grandma or grandpa or whoever it is you were afraid I might not connect with. They come in just to let us know that information. That's usually with their close friends and family, number one. But if one of those, if you're not their close and friends and family, they may come to you also, or if you ask them to, I really want to know that you're okay. I really want to know that things are okay with you. They will come in and give you those messages. Um, and I usually call them that it comes in as almost a dreamlike state. They're usually all in white. And it's just kind of more their face, and they'll just say like, "Hey, I made it," and they'll ride it off into the wind in a car, a motorcycle, a horse, whatever it is, whatever they really loved in their life. And so that's kind of one of their ways that they kind of reiterate that information or let you know that I'm still connected to what I was on Earth. Um, let's see. So I would say nowadays I have been able to connect with ghosts a lot faster and a lot sooner. I would say because in the last 20 years, people have gone through where they may not even say it, but they really believe in ghosts. That brings that energy in a little bit faster. They will also say that I that they uh, people will talk to ghosts or they've seen it on TV, and so they are much more likely to communicate or appreciate that form of communication. Sometimes in the past, when someone has passed away and they had no belief in ghost or being able to come back, it would take them quite a while to be able to come. Because they were kind of like, I didn't even know I could do this. I didn't even know I could communicate this way. And so it kind of takes them a little bit longer when someone shortly after they pass, they will go through a process sometimes if they don't have those belief sessions where it's kind of like they're not communicating very well or very clearly, so it's hard to get really good messages from them. But I would say nowadays, I'm usually able to connect with someone who's passed, usually within like 30 to 90 days. That's kind of what I've noticed lately, especially if they have a belief system, I can communicate with them even faster. Um, let's see. Okay, so how do ghosts communicate? So, one of the ways that ghosts communicate with us is they will send us feelings. Um, Usually they won't always show us their body. Sometimes that takes a lot more energy than what they're willing to expend on that, because they want to be able to talk to you longer. So it's kind of like, I only have this much battery to use, um, and so I'd rather not show you my body. I'd rather just show you the energy, or show you images, or communicate with you instead of wasting my energy on uh, communicate, saying, like, showing you what my body looks like. I Most people can see full body apparitions if they're willing to. It's one of those, but most of the ghosts won't come in that way unless they're really high powered. Um, but you can also sense their energy. A lot of people will say, and on Thursday Night Live, I've seen this many times where people say, I feel energy in my house, or I feel this energy, or I feel that energy, or it feels like my dad, or it feels like my mom, or some type, they're feeling something or they're sensing something and they're not really sure. So understand that that's one of the things that ghosts come in to communicate with us, and just feeling their energy. One of the other ways ghosts will communicate with us is through our sense of smell. Um, my grandmother was known for growing roses, and so when I feel her energy around me, I will have a sense or a smell of roses around me. My grandfather smoked cigars, and so when he's around, I will smell cigars. It's usually not a pleasant smell. I'm not a cigar lover, but there are ones that have, um, I'm saying, different fragrances. Let's see, I've had them come through with one of my not too recent ones, but one of them was really funny. Is I kept smelling a horse. I was like, it smells like horse. Like, why does it smell like horse? And that was something that their family member was really excited about. That I kept smelling the horse because they loved horses and loved being around them. So they will come in with fragrances from time to time, and people will tell me, like, they'll smell something and it reminds them of them. And I tell people, when that happens, take a few moments to yourself and just relax and just be like, I can smell you, Grandma. I can smell your roses around you. And so I'm so thankful that you came. Do you have any other messages for me? And that's usually what I'll ask. Um, uh, you can also sense people's energy. So this one, kind of, we get a little in a little bit into the complication part, is that sometimes people will mistake like a ghost energy, and that's different from a ghost person. Like I said, a ghost is someone who passed, who is no longer living. But sometimes, if something horrific or something major happened on the land, um, if someone got murdered, or someone got hit, or someone died in some way, that energy can stay. And that's not necessarily the same as a ghost. That's just energy that got stuck in that area, and you can feel that. Now, sometimes that passing will be so horrific for that person or that ghost that they will stay in that area, and it's one of those, so their energy will stay stuck. So just know that that can happen. But sometimes their energy will stay in certain areas. You hear a lot about this at people that pass away in jails, that were beaten, um, concentration camps, hospitals, mental wards, that sort of thing. Someplace that they were really, really being hurt, that energy can stay. Now, the energy can stay with or without a ghost attached to it, but sometimes you will have a ghost attached to it. So that's kind of like just giving you a different layer. So you can feel the energy of what happened, their beating, or that energy. Um, and then you could also sometimes feel the ghost. So it just really depends on what happened in that area and how well the ghost attached to it. Um, I will tell you that ghosts can get stuck in different areas. Other than this, there can be areas that they really want to go back to, a place that they felt really comfortable, a place that they really, really loved, um, a country home, or a place that they felt like their childhood was attached to this place and they really, really loved it. So know that there is a lot of energy in that area. And so they will go back to that place to feel more and more comfortable. Let's see. So, and that's different. I've had several ghosts that were like didn't know how they passed, and usually would say I've had a couple of them hit by cars or hit by other actions, and they don't know how they passed. They'll just be like, "All I know is I'm passed now. I don't know how that happened," and that energy can stay stuck in that area. And not that they do. Sometimes I had one not too long ago that got hit by a car crossing the road, and his energy stayed there. An average of probably 3 or 4 days or so. And that's kind of common. They're kind of wandering around like, hey, did I really pass? No one's talking to me. Kind of like you see on the movie. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it happened, just means that they are still connected to that and haven't moved forward. If you have any ghost questions in general, I would be more than happy to answer them. I will not be connecting to anybody's family members that have passed to give you a personal message, but if you have a ghost question in general, I will. I already have a couple of ghosts that are lined up at the end that wanted to say something or leave a message. Um, let's see. What do ghosts look like? I will tell you that a lot of times ghosts come in and they look similar to the way they did in life. I will tell you that on average, a female ghost, if they passed over the age of 60 or so, they will come back probably their um, early to mid 20s. And a gentleman will come in their mid 30s to, maybe early 30s. And they come back from a time where they felt really strong or they felt very um, powerful during that time frame. Like I figured out who I'm supposed to be, or I figured out what I'm supposed to do in this life, and I feel really powerful and strong. And so they will come in with that energy. So they will look that way. Sometimes, I had a ghost not too long ago that was really cute. As an adult, she always wore her hair very, very short, cute little hairstyle, but it was always very, very, very short. Well, her husband didn't know her when she was really young, but she had really long hair. And so she came in and she was playing with her hair. And I was like, she was playing with her hair. And he goes, well, she always had very short hair. Uh, and it was just kind of funny because she would be playing with her hair. And I said, well, when she was younger, did she have long hair? And he goes, yes, a lot of her pictures had very long hair, down to her waist or so. So she really did have a lot of long hair. Um, um, I think one of the reasons why, kind of the next one is like, why do ghosts come back? They come back for many different reasons. Some of them, they come back to give us a message. They come back to tell us information. They will come back to let us know that they've made it okay. Sometimes they have questions, or someone has been asking them questions, and so they'll come back. So sometimes I deal with this a lot with soldiers or with people that have passed away that maybe they weren't around their family when they passed. They will come in to kind of tell me their story of what is around them. I get this a lot with like World War I or II veterans that have passed. I will get that a lot with people that pass away in different battles or something like that. They'll come in to tell me kind of like, I wish my mom was here, or I want to tell her this. And so usually those are the stories that I'll post on my YouTube and then eventually on the Facebook, ghost stories. So ghosts come in with a lot of amazing, funny, kind of weird stories sometimes. So let's see. Courtney up here has a question. My daughter talks to a ghost in the corner of the room or in the kitchen. We believe that it is my papa. Um, so Courtney, how to react to this? So this is an amazing question. Thank you for asking this question, Courtney. So a lot of times, people will come in and ask how, my child sees ghosts, I don't see ghosts. How do I communicate with them? First off, don't lie to them. If you don't see or sense anything, tell them that. Like, I don't see it or sense it, but tell me about it. It's one of those, it's kind of like telling a story. If I go back and say, when I was 5 years old, this happened to me, you can understand and appreciate the story, although you weren't there. So the same thing. I wasn't there. I don't see it. I don't feel it. Please tell me what you see. And a lot of times ghosts will come to the same child many, many times, usually connected in the family history, and they will come in and play with the child when they're an infant, and they will communicate with them over and over again in their lifetime. And so, if you want to keep those lines of communication open, don't judge it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this. Usually, that what happens with that is someone immediately turns off their abilities. They're like, oh my gosh, it freaked out my mom, and my mom is everything, or my dad is everything, and that scared me, so it scares them, so I'm going to turn this off. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you explain it to them, like, not everybody sees ghosts, or some people, I sense something or I feel something, but I'm not really sure what I'm sensing or feeling. But if you see them, great. Please tell me what you see and ask them about them. If they communicate in different ways, to me, it's one of those, are they seeing them, feeling them, sensing them, or talking to them? And it just depends on the child's ability and what they can get through. So it's one of those, I love that question. So that's a really great one. So also, not only infants and babies or young people will see ghosts, also dogs and cats can see ghosts. So a lot of times, people will tell me that their dog is pointing, kind of like looking in the corner where there's no one there, or they'll start to react to something and they're like, I kind of felt something prior to that, or I sensed something, but I didn't communicate, or I, didn't see anything. Um, so yeah, that's a great way to do it, and just kind of communicate with them. But knowing that your dogs and cats can see them, and if a ghost bothers you in some way, the spray that I've got right here, and I did it right before I went live, so I'll do it again. One of the things that I do is some of the sprays, or you can clear out some of that energy out of the space, and that can keep the ghosts from coming in if you don't want them to. Let's see. Courtney, you're very welcome, Courtney. She's asking her daughter's 4. It's hard to know. Usually, ghosts don't scare children. If a ghost is scaring a child, that's when you need to call someone in, a psychic or a medium, to come in and remove that energy. If a child is scared of a ghost, usually if it's a family member, they are not scared or intimidated or upset or anything like that from that energy. They'll know that it's a good energy to be around. Courtney's asking, can you see ghosts in your dream? I personally see ghosts in my dreams. I don't know if other people see ghosts in your dreams, but I usually will tell you that when ghosts first pass, that they will come and give you the message, and so you can see them in their dreams. But it's one of those. I also have like a special ability, I guess is kind of a strange way to say it, is I have a special ability where I also can see people's past lives, so I can see ghosts in many forms. So that's kind of a strange one. Let's see. Charlotte is asking, my daughter saw a ghost when she was little, and I told her to ask their names and what did they need. That's a great way to do it, and asking them. Sometimes they just want to be there with a family member, especially if it's a grandma, grandpa, or something that has passed away, or an aunt and uncle. They will come in just to be around the family and to see the new baby. I mean, who doesn't want to come see a new baby? And so they will be around, and it's always just nice to know that they're still connected to it. I think that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the last things I put on here is like, um, ghosts love to know that people remember them, that they're still part of the family, they're still connected in some way, that their story matters, their life mattered. Let's see. John is saying, Sandra, my wife is sensitive to women being in our house. Um, it's one of those. So I'm assuming, John, you're asking like ghost. It's one of those. Ghost will come in many different areas. Ghost will come in, and you can sense that energy. But also, one of the things that is kind of a strange part of it is that when if I meet someone, I meet all of their ghosts at the same time. So you may think, John, that you're meeting one person, you're meeting me, and it's just you and I, John. We're talking to each other. Well, the thing is, though, I also see the 16 ghosts that are with you, John. I also see your 1687 past lives that are with you, and all of the ghosts with that. So you think you're just meeting one person when you're not. And that's what sensitive people do, is we don't just sense one person or one ghost. We're sensing everybody that came with you, all your past lives. I feel it. It Sensing past lives is not an easy gift, and it's not a very common gift, but it's something that I deal with quite a lot. And so a lot of people will ask me about it. But it's one of those, past lives are really an interesting part of the ghost story, and it will come through. But it's one of those. Um, you're so John is as saying yes in a spirit. So John, if she's sensing ghosts in female form, it's probably because she's been more female in past lives than she has been male. Most people have been kind of on average, it kind of balances out over time. It's not 100% 50-50, but if she's been female way more than she's been male, she's going to be more sensitive to that female energy. um, any other questions y'all have about ghost? I love talking about ghosts, and I love talking about their energy, because one of the things that most people don't understand is when a ghost comes to you to give you a message, it's almost like they're running a marathon backwards, and we're I'm running my energy in a marathon forward to be able to make that connection, to be able to to communicate, be able to get that information. So that's like high energy. The thing is, though, is that's one of the reasons why I tell a lot of my clients that one of the things that you need to do is you've got to learn how to meditate, because that's how we speed up our energy. We pull down when we meditate. We pull down our kind of like our human energy, and our spirit energy, our connection to the other side speeds up a lot faster. And so when we meditate, that's actually how we communicate with the other side. So I do have a couple of ghosts with me. I did do a ghost story on Bob and Sheila last week, and that all got posted out. So I do have Bob with me. Bob is a very interesting ghost, just because of the fact that when he did not have a good life, is what he considers it. Um, he has a lot of anger issues, a lot of anger questions that come through. Um, I'll get to your question in just a second, Stacy. So Bob came through with a lot of negative energy, and so it's because he hasn't been able to let go of this, or he has not been able to move on. Bob has not been able to tell me if he's actually moved on or if he's in a coma. Has not been able to tell me that information yet. So it's one of those. He comes through with a lot of negative energy around him because he felt judged by others. He felt inadequate around others, and a lot of anger. And he comes through with a lot of that still to this day. So if he has passed, it's just barely passed. If not, he's still in a coma, and once he moves forward, he may be able to release some of that. Sheila is another one that came through. Let me get your question real fast, Stacy. I used to feel a spirit sit next to me on the bed, but it didn't scare me. Usually that means, Stacy, like I said earlier, that usually means that it's a family member if you're not frightened by them. Is a family member, or they have really good energy. And so sometimes I just take a few seconds and kind of take a deep breath and kind of get in that meditative state. Like I said, bringing down that human energy to let that spirit energy go, and asking what messages do they have. That really makes a big difference, and really communicates really easily with them. But it's really kind of fun to kind of get those messages from them and how they come through. So the other one that I've had with me for quite a while is Sullivan. Sullivan. So Sullivan has been with me for quite a while, and he comes through with some really funny energy. I do feel like he felt like he was a clown, even though not everybody else maybe thought he was as funny. But he comes through, and so that personality, he comes through as kind of like my example of like personality still come through. He's never mean with his statements. He's never derogatory with them, but he's always laughing or cracking jokes and kind of trying to keep me on the lighter side of life. I can get overwhelmed very easily with other people's energy. And so he comes through to tell me lots of stories or jokes, or, oh, I heard this one, that sort of thing. So it comes through with a lot of fun energy. Aaron is a ghost that's been with me, and actually was a friend of mine that passed. And he comes through, and there's a lot of things that he regret in his life, and it's one of those, I feel like at times he really was a much softer energy than he thought. He would not fight people when he was younger. He was definitely a go-getter, and he loved to kind of deal with other people's energy, and he loved to do things. um, uh, so his energy comes through with like a lot of regret, and a lot of people come through with a lot of regrets, like, man, I should have done things differently, or I should have thought about things differently. So ghosts come in with a lot of regrets of like, or guilt of like, I should have done things differently. I wish I'd have done things differently. I wish I could do things differently. um, kind of like hindsight being 2020. So they're looking at that energy going, man, I really could have done this differently. I really could have listened to this in a different way, or really could be doing this in a different manner. So it's one of those just kind of interesting energy when they come through. So Aaron comes through with a lot of regret, like, I could have done this differently, or I should have done this differently, and for whatever reason he didn't. Jared is a brand new one, and I'll be doing a post on Jared in the next couple of days or so. Jared is a young man. He's a soldier that passed not too long ago, and he comes in with some energy of things that he wish he would have done differently. Not similar to Aaron, because Aaron is like, I knew I should have done better, but Jared was kind of like blindsided. And I also feel like Jared was very religious, and wish he would have like listened more to his own intuition. And that's a spiritual gift, is listening to your own intuition or what you should be doing next. So that's really a fun one. So I've got a question. So Robin is asking, what LOL is Sheila? Who's Sheila? Sheila is a ghost that came into me last week. I did a ghost story about her. Let's see, I posted it sometime last week, and so she came in with some really fun energy. A ghost. She was actually really tall, so she kept like hovering over me. She was just really funny. So ghosts come in, and that personality stays. That personality stays with them all the time. Um, let's see. Is our property attracting spirits? No. Sandra's asking, the is our property attracting spirits or ghosts? No, it's you, Sandra. You attract them, and that's kind of what we do. If we don't have enough barriers up, it's kind of like a light, and it's like, I would say it's like a moth. If I put a light here and it was completely dark, and there was only just this one light here, every moth within 1,000 miles would be attached to my light, and that's what we do. Is we bring ghost into us because they're trying to communicate. They're not going to be drawn to someone's energy that can't handle them or can't communicate with them. Because it's kind of like, why? Why would you go to someone who doesn't understand you? Why would you go to someone who speaks a language you don't understand at all to communicate? You would want to go to someone who can communicate with you and understand what how you communicate with them. So we do that. So I would say put up some different barriers, Sandra. That makes it a little bit easier to be able to do that. And it's kind of set some boundaries. I set boundaries with ghost in several different ways. I don't allow their energy to be too close to me because it can be overwhelming. I will push their energy off as if I was standing, kind of like my personal bubble space. Well, with the ghost, I probably have double bubble space. So if you were standing here talking to me, I would probably stand about 3 to 4 feet away from you to be have a good conversation, so I can hear you, you can hear me, and we communicate well. Well, when a ghost comes in, they don't have that crystal bubble, so they can be like all up in your face, and it can be a little overwhelming. So I'll ask them to stand about 10 feet away from me, so I can see them. If they're showing me anything or be able to get their messages, it makes it easier to set that boundary, and I don't feel like I'm being overwhelmed by their energy. I think y'all today we've been on like 30 minutes. I'm so excited. I will be on tomorrow, and we will be talking about ghost again. If you have any ghost questions or anything like that, please let me know. I will be talking to Charlotte is asking. It's when oh, I ghosts come to us in many different ways, and so we're going to be talking to some different ghosts tomorrow. If you have any other ghost questions, we'll be doing it today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at noon. And I will be posting information about your ghost, information that we receive. This was kind of more like the beginning of it, kind of like when a ghost first passes over. Tomorrow, I'll be kind of talking or kind of teaching a little bit about when they're here and how to communicate with them better, how to deal with that. And then Friday, we'll be talking about how to talk to a ghost that's already reincarnated. So that's going to be some fun energy. I'm so glad that y'all joined me today. I will see you tomorrow at noon. And then on top of all that, I will see you Thursday for Thursday Night Live. I'm very excited about doing Thursday Night Live, and we'll be talking, and I'll be doing my angel card reading. The other thing is, if you fill out the form at the top of on Facebook, I have a form up there called Ghost Tours, and we are thinking about doing some ghost tours. Would you love to go on a ghost tour with a psychic and learn how to communicate with the ghost and how to validate your information that you receive right then and there? So we are going to be doing that. We have about 5 or 6 places that we're looking at right now. It looks right now that a lot of people are really liking Richmond, Texas, probably because it's close to where I live. And so I have a lot of clients that are here. So I will probably be one of our first ones that we'll be doing. Let me see. Taylor is asking, is there a spirit in our home? I feel uneasy about the presence, but there is some activity happening, lights flickering, um, things falling, that I think it's a child spirit. Um, I would say it's not necessarily a child spirit. It is an energy that is trying to get your attention. And it's just like any child. If you don't give them good attention, they're going to get bad attention any way they can. So that kind of makes it a little bit differently. But I will tell you that they do, and they will do what they need to do to get their point across or to get their energy across. So they will do that. Um, but we will be talking tomorrow about some other energy of what's coming in and how to do all of that. We'll be talking tomorrow about how to communicate with ghosts and how to remove some of their energy, how to push some of that back. But I thank y'all so much for joining me today, and we will be talking soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.